Hillary wakes up to the sound of the radio station, where it is being informed that the lucky winners of their weekly holiday giveaway to Mexico are going to be announced soon. Hillary hurriedly calls the station to enter her name in the giveaway, and she gets a call in between from her fiancé, Jason, who still wonders why Hillary is excited to win the trip to Mexico. Between their call, Hillary gets another call from her mother, who is expecting Jason and Hillary for the Thanksgiving weekend. Jason is still not sure if he would make it to Hillary's home for Thanksgiving, but Hillary pleads for him to come, as she believes everyone would think that she made up a fake boyfriend if Jason won't be there. Jason agrees to her request. Hillary, along with her close friend Sophie, is heading to interview a cell phone company that has shut down. Sophie isn't interested that much, but Hillary thinks that it would be the right news to break for the newspaper company they work for. They come across a sign spinner who they believe was an employee of the cell phone company. The man takes off his mask and says that he is not an employee of the firm but an actor. Hillary receives a call from her firm and is informed that the company she works for has gone bankrupt and is shutting down. Jason goes to dinner with Hillary, and he isn't bothered in the slightest that Hillary doesn't have a job anymore. He appears a bit rude to Hillary when it comes to her profession. When Hillary asks him if he ever reads her submissions in the newspaper, Jason hesitantly answers yes. Jason lets her know that she doesn't need a job, especially when they are about to be getting married. Jason happens to be one of the best lawyers in town, and when he tells Hillary that he is being promoted to Pittsburgh, she gets a little uneasy with it. Hillary asks what he would be doing in Pittsburgh when she won't have a job, family, or friends there, to which Jason romantically replies that she would be his wife in that city. Hillary is bothered by the fact that Jason is always distracted by his work. Before she could go to sleep, Jason invites Hillary to lunch tomorrow. The next afternoon, Hillary is heartbroken when Jason says that they should break up. Jason wants to be with someone that would support him in achieving even greater things in his field. Hillary is upset as she had always supported Jason. Hillary sits down with Sophie and laments the fact that her mother would now spend the entire holiday telling her that she was right about Jason leaving her. Hillary says that she can't show up at her home without a fiancé. While the chat continues between the two of them, the radio station announces that Hillary has won the weekly holiday giveaway contest and would be receiving 2 first-class tickets to Mexico. Hillary is not excited by the announcement as she is still wondering how she would be confronting her family without a fiancé. Sophie informs her about a platform where Hillary could find several men that could pretend to be her fiancé for the time she would be staying for Thanksgiving at her home. Initially hesitant to use the platform, Hillary goes along with Sophie's plan and records a video about how she needs a man who would pretend to be her fiancé in front of her family. In exchange, the man would get those 2 tickets to Mexico. The next morning, Sophie and Hillary are baffled to see just how many men have reached out to be Hillary's fake fiancé. They go through several potential possibilities, but none of them matches the quality and personality of Jason. At one point, Sophie comes across a striking young man who she takes a liking to instantly. They receive another potential candidate for this weird job, and the man turns out to be the sign spinner they met a few days ago. His name is David, who is an aspiring actor. He informs that he lost his job, and just like both of them, he also has nothing to do. He tells them the reason he wants to be Hillary's fake fiancé is that, if he can't pull off being someone's fake fiancé, then he might consider leaving this profession for good. Sophie and Hillary accept him for this job, and tells him that they would be looking more into David, to ensure that David is clean of any suspicious or weird activities in the past. Hillary and Sophie arrive at the coffee shop where they are supposed to meet David. Sophie informs Hillary that she has looked into David's profile on the internet, and he seems like a perfectly normal guy to her. It turns out that David is working in the coffee shop. Hillary lets David know that he would be pretending to be a corporate lawyer. When Hillary finds out that David drives a relatively old car, she decides that they would use her car to travel to her home in order to avoid any embarrassment. Hillary tells him to send her request on Facebook so that he could memorize the name of Hillary's parents and sisters. David agrees and is excited for what's about to come. Hillary picks David up and is impressed to see him prepared with a nice look and a new haircut. On their way, David goes through the names of Hillary's entire family. David asks Hillary for how long she dated Jason and the reason for their breakup. Hillary says that she dated Jason for 7 months and was engaged for about 2 months. She explains that Jason was under a lot of pressure because of his profession, which ultimately became the reason for their breakup. Both of them arrive at Hillary's home, and her mother, Meredith, finally gets to meet fake Jason. Meredith has invited non-family guests as she wants everyone to know that Hillary isn't single anymore. Hillary meets her younger sister, Tricia, who isn't shy about boasting the new property she and her husband have bought. David seems to be avoiding any conversation with Hillary's father, Roy, that is related to law, as he has no idea about how that field works. Meredith gathers everyone so that Hillary can reveal her engagement ring. As no one is aware of the reality, everyone is surprised to see that Hillary isn't wearing an engagement ring. Hillary can't come up with an excuse, which leads to David intervening and making up a story about how Hillary lost some weight, and the ring wouldn't fit her anymore, which is why they have given the engagement ring to be resized. Hillary then goes outside with her youngest sister, Joy, and while talking to her, Hillary at one point accidentally mistakes Jason for David. For the entirety of time, David has been getting frustrated with Joy's fiancé, Peter, because of his podiatrist conversation. Hillary returns inside and Meredith gathers every family member for family photos. Hillary and David are nervous and they hesitantly have to show up in the photos. When it's time for bed, Hillary asks her mother if she and David can have separate rooms. Her mother doesn't see the need for a separate room as both Hillary and David are a couple, but Meredith has no idea that David is pretending to be Jason. However, Hillary relaxes that there would be separate beds for both of them. When she goes to her father to ask if he could spare an extra pajama for David, his father asks if Hillary actually loves Jason and is ready to get married soon. Hillary overhears David talking with some woman on the phone. She hears David say that he plans on going to Mexico with the woman he's on phone with. The next morning, Hillary talks about how Trisha never had to worry about job, as her husband is highly affluent. Hillary also grieves over how she doesn't have a job anymore. Meredith assures her that she doesn't need a job, as she has Jason to cover up her expenses. David is helping Roy in deep frying a turkey for Thanksgiving dinner. Meredith shares how heartbroken she was when she found out that Trisha had eloped, as she always wanted to plan her daughter's weddings. Before she could get more upset and gloomier, Hillary sets a date for her marriage in order to keep her mother's spirits up. Hillary informs Sophie about how she had made a mistake by giving a wedding date to her mother. Sophie tells her to relax as Hillary is strong enough to handle the situation. Just when David thought he could avoid any more law-related conversations, Roy wants to hire David as his lawyer, as he believes that a person should acquire a lawyer that's from inside the family. The plan of deep frying a turkey turns into a big mess, and the family has no other option than to go out for dinner in a local restaurant. Trisha arrives at the restaurant and brags about how her husband could have arranged a fancy restaurant for all of them. When one of the waiters arrives to take the family's order, he recognizes David as one of his old friends. He and David chat for a few moments and Meredith is confused as to why the waiter is calling Jason by the name of David. To avoid suspicion, David says that David is his middle name. David goes on about how he doesn't like golf that much, but Meredith is confused because Jason absolutely loves golf and Hillary met Jason at a golf event. Hillary breaks into the conversation and says that Jason actually loves to joke around. Hillary scolds David for almost ruining everything by talking to the waiter and almost revealing their secret. David says that he worked with that waiter years ago and was just catching up to him. Meredith arrives and David thanks her for the dinner. Before they could go to sleep, Hillary apologizes to David for being rude and asks him the reason for him wanting the tickets to Mexico so bad. David explains that he met his ex-girlfriend at a resort in Mexico, and he hopes to go there again with her so that they can reconcile their relationship. David says that he also gets bothered by the fact that his ex-girlfriend calls him when she breaks up with her real boyfriend. Hillary laughs when she hears that David was just with his girlfriend for about 5 weeks. Hillary lets him know that his ex-girlfriend is using him to get back to her real boyfriend. David says that he's confident that there's a connection between him and his ex-girlfriend. While they are having late-night snacks, David lets Hillary know that he is the owner of the dog Hillary saved and wrote an article on. David wakes up in the middle of the night and finds Meredith decorating the house for Christmas. David offers his help to her and learns that Meredith used to do this after every Thanksgiving when her daughters used to be kids, and they would believe that elves might have decorated the entire house when they were asleep. Even though her daughters have grown up, Meredith has been doing this act ever since. Meredith, who still is unaware that David is not Jason, thanks him for taking good care of and loving Hillary. Not wanting to give any negative vibes, David goes with the flow and says that he is glad to. The next day, Meredith proposes that Hillary and David should go with her and pick the right wedding dress for Hillary. David suggests that he should stay, but after learning that Roy wants to talk law-related stuff with him, David quickly changes his mind and decides to go with them. Hillary picks out a beautiful dress for herself. Meredith asks her the reason for not being that romantic around Jason. When they were just about to purchase the dress, a silly woman, who had been disturbing all three of them all along in the store, tries to snatch Hillary's dress for herself, but David gets control of the situation soon. When David learns that Hillary has set up a wedding date, he gets annoyed at her for taking things way too far. Meredith has brought a priest from the church who would be performing the wedding between Hillary and David. To not make things any more awkward, both of them decide to have a chat with the priest to make Meredith happy. The priest goes about how the wedding would be carried out. The priest asks if David is baptized or not. When David answers that he's a Jew, the priest gets confused as to why Hillary is marrying a Jew. Hillary says that David is converting and would be getting baptized. The priest gets elated by this news. David lets Hillary know that he won't be getting baptized, and Hillary has stretched this whole thing to a large degree. Hillary agrees with David as she believes that she is making her mother happy, only to set her up to be disappointed again. Hillary says that David has completed this weird task and has handed the tickets to Mexico. David bids farewell to Hillary and gets sad when he leaves for good. Before she could go to bed, Hillary finds Joy with another guy. Hillary confronts her and Joy explains that the guy she was with used to be her boyfriend in the past, but Meredith disapproved of him and set her up with Peter. She further says that she doesn't intend to marry Peter. After hearing that, Hillary reveals the secret that she has been hiding the entire weekend. Joy tells her that David was cute. The next morning, Hillary tries to explain her actions to Meredith. Before she could reveal that the guy she was with was David and not Jason, Meredith says that she's aware that Jason left her last night. Meredith still doesn't know what Hillary has been hiding all along. As the conversation progresses, David comes back, thanks Joy, and apologizes to Hillary for breaking up with her. Both Hillary and David make out to make Meredith happy. Hillary asks David why he hasn't left for Mexico. David says that his ex-girlfriend wanted to use his tickets to leave with someone else. Hillary feels bad for David. Trisha tells Hillary that she has to keep a hold of Jason because he is a man, and a man can experience a change in behavior at any time. Trisha explains that her husband would have left her early on if she hadn't impressed him and been by his side. David goes to meet his ex-girlfriend who is excited to go to Mexico with her real boyfriend. David is embarrassed and ashamed of giving away his tickets. Hillary arrives and pretends to be David's fiancé in front of his ex-girlfriend. She makes out with David in front of the woman to make her more jealous. To make things worse for her, Hillary lets her know that David and she have planned on not giving away their tickets to Mexico. David is happy that Hillary stepped up for him. He jokes about how they can continue to pretend to be a couple in front of her parents. David tries to sing a song for the occasion. Hillary joins him and they both sing a beautiful song for the family. Much to her surprise, the real Jason arrives and tells Hillary that he has turned down his promotion and wants to be with her again. Meredith is upset that Hillary lied to her during the holidays. Seeing Hillary happy with Jason, David decides to leave. Meredith suggests him the same, but before David could leave, he asks Meredith if she ever cared about Hillary's articles, and ever asked Hillary what she actually wanted to do. Jason is still involved with his work and still doesn't pay much attention to Hillary. Hillary sits down with her father, and he asks her if she actually loved Jason and preferred David over Jason. He advises her to follow her heart. Meredith reads Hillary's articles and cries knowing that she avoided her work for so long. Hillary resolves her relationship problems with her mother. Meredith also advises her to follow her heart and she would be having her complete support. Hillary steals Jason's car to find David. Hillary's family throws Jason and his stuff out of their house for treating their daughter poorly. Hillary meets David and David tells her that Jason is a total jerk, but he's happy for Hillary as she is getting married soon. Hillary lets him know that she has broken up with Jason as he was a total mistake. She confesses her feelings for David and both of them share a romantic moment. Both of them are married soon and Hillary's family, especially her mother, is proud of her.